Hola humanos, esas casitas de ahí atrás es Wall Street, la meca del capitalismo, y desde ahí todos los años los multimillonarios se van de excursión a un pueblito maravilloso de Suiza, Davos, y se reúnen para explicarnos a todos cómo hay que salvar el mundo y los buenos que están siendo ellos con la humanidad. Luego vuelven a casa y tan contentos, excepto este año, porque hay una voz, la de un periodista que acaba de publicar este libro, Winners Takes All, los ganadores se lo llevan todo, que se llama Anand Giridharadas, y que es un hombre que ha dicho que mejor que no se reúnan ya más en Davos, que mejor que paguen muchos impuestos, que es lo que hace falta para solucionar este planeta. Pero, ¿por qué no nos lo cuenta él mismo? Vamos a verle.
The first idea that went to my mind when I said, oh, we have to talk to this guy, because Davos just happened, and, you know, this rich and powerful people telling us that they're going to save the world, they're good guys, and they're going to come with new ideas to, you know, somehow fix this mess. And everybody's kind of excited, okay, please do it. And then you come and say, this is BS, guys. I mean, why is Davos so bad?
This year was not the first Davos. I do hope it will be the last Davos. But if we were going to be saved by the people who meet in Davos every year, we would have been saved by now. And putting them in charge of solving the world's problems is like sending arsonists to, you know, respond to a fire that they caused a few hours earlier.
You said there are a bunch of, like a family reunion of rich who actually are pretending to be somebody who they are not?
They acquire this moral glow of the giver, the helper, the world savior. Sometimes they do it by saying their business is changing the world. Facebook is changing the world. Sometimes they do it through philanthropy, and they do real good work with philanthropy, but they also then come to be seen as these moral authorities about everything.
We're talking right now about European governments, countries, who are seriously thinking of having ambassadors in Facebook, having ambassadors in Google, rather than having ambassadors in countries, because those are the guys who make the decisions. This is weird.
It's profoundly weird, although it's probably not stupid, because at least right now, those companies have an enormous amount of influence over what goes on in all of our societies. I will say this about Europe. You know, first of all, you have this marvelous competition commissioner for the EU, who has actually been such an amazing voice explaining the importance of antitrust. Antitrust is one of these issues that is so boring but so important. You've actually fined these companies in Europe, Google and Facebook and others, for tax issues, for monopoly issues.
Yeah, Europe is fighting on wondering why can't we tax those people? Where are they? Because they don't belong to a country, they're like in the cloud.
Correct.
How do you tax these people?
Europe really has been a leader in this, because I think my impression as an outsider is, in Europe people are not fooled into thinking Mark Zuckerberg is a liberator of mankind. I don't think so. I don't think people think he's, you know, I don't know, Attila the Hun. But I think they think he's like a normal business person. And once you see someone like him properly that way, it's actually not that complicated to regulate them, to make sure they are subject to proper competition. But I think what happens in this country is we have been fooled by this story that someone like Mark Zuckerberg is more than just a regular CEO. If you remember, the last president of the United States, Barack Obama, would sit and do public meetings talking about democracy and the future with Mark Zuckerberg.
The answer, you said, is taxes, right? You study history. We're talking about history. I knew men came from the monkey. I never suspected before that men were going back to the monkey. Unfortunately, it seems to be a circle. But you said taxes because through history, you know history, there's not many movements that we can name where from to the top, you know, the wealth filtered to the bottom and everybody was happy. Revolutions come from the bottom, right? And why is taxes the answer?
I think taxes is not the only answer, but it's a big answer. And it's an answer not because I think those of us who think taxes should be raised on the very rich are revolutionaries. It's actually, we're just undoing a revolution that was done over the last 30, 40 years when very rich people pushed for some very radical policies to make sure they were undertaxed. Right? That was the revolution, to be honest. I think of what's happening now as frankly a counter-revolution and a restoration.
That brings me to the thought that many of those people are bringing on the table is like government is bad, government fund stuff is inefficient, everything has to be private. So isn't that part of the myth too, that they're the ones who are saving the world when they're benefiting from all our taxes and they're not paying a damn to the...
These people live in a fantasy that they created everything themselves. The reality is we all make an enormous sacrificial investment in each other through our common institutions. And what has gone wrong in American life, in my view, is the people who've won the most from the common stuff we have built together, prosecuting an argument that they did it alone and that we don't deserve any kind of return on investment for what the society has given them. 82% of new wealth created globally, just the new incremental wealth created that year, went to the top 1%. Even now, we have around the world systems that basically ensure that the 1% corner most of the benefits of whatever new stuff happens every year. And that is at the heart of what needs to be changed.
Well, Anand, thank you so much, man. I enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
I enjoyed
Gracias.
reading your book, and I hope you keep talking.